Buckle up, everybody. I have a very important question I need to ask. Can you remember the last time a gaming company made a promise and actually kept it? Me neither, guys. I have no clue. But today's story isn't just about another broken promise. It's about a promise that was so specifically, so clearly stated that breaking it feels like a new kind of betrayal. Yes, we have hit new lows, and we're about to talk about that in today's video. We're talking about Skate, the free-to-play revival that millions were hyped for. It launched into early access, hit some bumps, and got buried in microtransactions. You know, the usual. But this week, EA and the Skate team have decided to test a theory. How low can player trust actually go? They just announced plans for Season 3 that includes a brand new map, and to access it, you gotta pay up. Which, in a vacuum for a free-to-play game, you could argue for it, that seems fair, right? But here's the kicker. Before the launch, developers explicitly on video said they would never, ever lock up map areas behind a paywall, and it was a hard ground rule. So what happened? How did we go from never to pay up or rent it by the day? And what does EA have to say for itself? Well, sit down, because the corporate doublespeak is honestly kind of impressive. Let's rewind for a second. Skate hit early access back in, September. It had a huge launch with millions of players, but the vibe shifted fast. The Steam rating plummeted to mixed, and players are wading through what one article called microtransactions muck and a bunch of technical issues. The love was fading and fast. Now, fast forward to now, and Season 3 is on the horizon. And EA dropped a blog post previewing the new content. And the big highlight, the Island of Grom. It's a reworked and expanded version of the tutorial zone. They're talking about new spots, such as hill bombs, gaps, spillway actions, and sounds awesome. Genuinely cool stuff. But when you keep reading and the access model hits you like a kickflip to your face. Now, from March 10th to April 14th, only players who buy the $10 Skate Pass get to go there. Then for a few weeks in April, it's open for everyone. And then after May 5th, it goes back behind the paywall, unless you want to rent it. That's right, you can spend 500 of the earnable currency chips for a 24-hour day pass to the island. Yes, you heard that right. We now have rent by the day maps in video games. Now, I just need to let that sink in. A day pass to a digital skate park. We have officially entered, microtransaction hell at this point. Now, the immediate reaction from the community was exactly what you'd expect. Anger, confusion, and huge disappointment. And people immediately dug up their receipts. A video from July 2022 before launch where a developer looks at the camera and says, and I quote, "There will be no map areas locked behind a paywall. That is a hard ground rule for us." A hard ground rule, not a maybe. So what changed? This is where it gets really interesting, where EA's PR team started earning their paycheck. On X, the official Skate account began damage control, responding to furious playing. They said things like, launching an early access meant we were going to work on this game in public, and we want this game to last. This change was made to ensure this game was to stick around for the long haul. In another reply they said, sometimes plans have to change. That's part of the deal when you're building in public. We're here and we're listening. Now, let me translate that from corporate speak into English. We know we said we wouldn't, but we are. Because we want to make money, please understand that we need money to exist, and please note that we are listening. See, we're replying to you, and that counts. But we want money more than we want anything else. The sheer palpable exhaustion in some of these replies is almost funny. It's the vibe of a parent who just told their kid they can't have ice cream for dinner again. But here's the thing about building in public, as they say. It's a great concept, and transparency, player feedback, and all that. It's not a universal excuse for walking back those core promises that people bought into, or in this case, downloaded into. Based on those promises at least. Changing a progression system, tweaking a trick, sure, why not? Go for it. But monetizing a piece of the game world that you explicitly stated by your development team, on the internet that will remain free. That's not a tweak, that's a fundamental shift in the deal, okay? That kind of changes everything about how the game's going to work. And thankfully, the community isn't buying this excuse. You can imagine the Reddit threads. This is why we can't trust anything before launch. Free to play was a mistake. The sentiment is a brutal mix of I told you so and genuine heartbreak. Because for a lot of people, Skate was supposed to be a return to form, a pure skateboarding sim. And now its map got rental fees instead. It feels less like a skate park and more like a timeshare presentation now. The article I was reading about this ends on a beautiful sarcastic note. Nothing reassures me about the future of skateboarding, pacifying corporate pseudo-acknowledgement. Now, the real question this raises is bigger than skate. How many times does this have to happen before we stop believing these hard ground rules or promises that developers make? How many changes need to be made for the long haul? And are we just going to keep accept that developers get to do whatever they want? Now, it feels like people, and especially developers, just get to say whatever they want to buy in players, but the trust from players just gets lower and lower and lower at this point. And obviously, I don't blame them. When you build your game around a specific concept and you try to build trust with your players and then you walk it all back, what's the point? So where does that leave us? With a cool new skate island that most people will probably have to schedule appointments to visit, and the developers promise, well, now that's a funny clip in a before and after compilation. EA and Skate Team might see this as a necessary evil, and the players see it like a broken promise. And it's going to be hard to forget about this one. And the rest of us, we're just going to watch the drama unfold and maybe think twice the next time a hard ground rule is announced before a game launches. What do you think? Was this always the inevitable for a free-to-play skate, or is this a genuine betrayal of players' trust? Leave a comment below because I read all of them. And if you enjoyed this dive into gaming drama, you know what to do. Press the subscribe button, maybe give a like, I don't know. Do whatever you want, and I'll see you in the next video.